A very simple exercise tells you where your value systems come from. I am sure all of you must have struggled to find or to articulate the sources of your value systems from the respective sources. Have you ever heard about Marcus Aurelius? Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. There is a book called as Meditations. So if you see that book, if you read it, he tells that I have learned this from this person. Sorry? The very first chapter. He tells like I have learned this value from this particular person. So family. You can write my father. From my father I have learned this. From my mother I have learned this. So you can go beyond what is the requirement, right? So it will be easy for you to fill all the 5 points. Let's say your grandfather, maternal grandfather, paternal grandfather, they both have imbibed one value in you, right? So you can always go for creativity, and that is true also, right? Not if you have the right mindset, you know you can learn from anyone. Yes or no? For example, there is an uncle in your family who is a drunkard and a abuser, right? So you know how not to be like him. So if you have the right mindset, you can learn even from the bad people. Yes. So let's say dowry is a common practice in your family. Yes, you can learn not to take dowry or promote women empowerment. For example, let's say ex father will beat his mother. Okay, so he grew up seeing his mother crying every day. So he decided to be a better husband or a better human being. So that is also a value system you learn. So positive examples and negative examples both will teach us value systems, and they have to be imbibed. The term is imbibed. They are not like you know it. Honest is the best policy, but you have to imbibe them. For example, your father is a very honest person with a sense of duty. He is always on time. So discipline is something that you develop, or sense of duty is something that you develop from your father. Yes, or he's very compassionate. Let's say he's a business owner. He always take care of subordinates. So dignity of labor is learned or imbibed by you through your father. Yes or no? So let me hear what are the family values that you have imbibed from family. Family is the first teacher, right? Yes. Yes, Vallabh. Truthfulness, honesty, generosity, passion, love. Right? Okay. Aditya?
How to live together and help each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Respecting people.
Mm-hmm.
And also being honest to others.
Mm-hmm.
How to remain integrated to the moral values which we have learned from our childhood.
That is theoretical, right? That is a value system.
It's like not
Articulate properly. Okay, fine. No issues. Yes, Neil?
and also how to manage the things. Like when we say there are many people, how to manage the things to see that there are equal distribution for all the people in the family.
No, if you have to prioritize the value system in your life, those are the 5 things that you prioritize that you learn from your family. I mean, maybe time crunch or articulation issue, but you may find better value system that are imbibed by you or imbibed in you by your family. Yes, Nihar?
So honesty, empathy, kindness, loyalty, and compassion.
Okay, fine. Yes?
Compassion, optimism, humility, treating people equally.
And then there were none. Okay. Simplicity. Yes, Chakri?
To do yourself, respect for others, and be the lead, good behavior, and good living.
Good behavior and
Humility.
humility. Okay, humbleness. So almost all of you are saying that your family has imbibed you humbleness and being honesty. Yes, Santosh? Family.
Honesty, empathy, discipline, respect towards others,
Hmm.
sincerity, and reducing unnecessary expectations.
Reducing frugality in a sense, in a positive way. Frugality in a positive way. Okay, fine. So now the problem is when you write the school educational systems, more or less the same points will be there, right? Discipline, honesty. No? What did you write in school or educational system? Reinforcements. Okay. School uniquely didn't teach you anything. Single-mindedness. Okay. Punctuality. Discipline. Okay. Integrity in school. Seriously, in school integrity. How? I want to learn. I want to be enlightened. How did School taught you integrity.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
My correspondent, once when he found out that the students were actually into drugs and all, he cleaned the washrooms for a whole day to teach a lesson. Like the punishment is on me because I couldn't teach you better value system.
So how does that?
He's taking his job very seriously. So that he instill a value in me that I should take responsibility for the role I am in.
So sense of duty, sense of purpose is imbibed, right? Integrity.
Integrity like going to class CR.
Hmm.
As a class CR.
You were a class CR. No. Okay. Yes. We are not speaking ever again. Yes, Vallabh. Sorry. Writing names on the board. I know. I was victim. Yes. Okay. Jokes apart. So the problem is what? What you learn from family overlaps with society and overlaps with educational system. But how do you still differentiate? Anything unique in school? Integrity. Yes. Then out of the box thinking, critical reasoning.
Logical understanding.
Are the values or skills? Mm-hmm. Out of the box thinking is a value.
Like not taking any good decision.
Hmm.
Like consistency.
Consistency is something you learn in educational systems. Okay.
Respect for the nation.
Respect for the nation is a value system. Okay, that can come from society also, but education system also fine.
Equality also we learn from school and
Equality. Okay. Families may have flaws. Families may have their own systems. So that will be ironed out in the schools. Yes, uniform, like everybody is equal. Yes, discipline and equality is one thing that, and what are their values? Friendship, sharing, caring. Sharing and caring is something you learn from the schools, right? Socialization actually happens very well in school, either it's in play schools or in normal education system. Then what else? The schools. Courage. In school, I mean educational systems.
Yes.
we're not pampered.
Again, it's a overlapping value. You can learn courage from family system and society, and also confidence mostly decreases. Okay, fine. Yes, but is it a value system?
Through various examinations,
Hmm.
like the competitions and
Hmm.
healthy competition.
My conscience doesn't allow me. Right? Okay. Yes. Yes. What about family?
Family.
Sorry, society.
I couldn't write it.
So ethics, tolerance,
Ethics and tolerance. Wait, okay, tolerance.
selflessness,
Selflessness. Okay.
uplifting vulnerables, uplifting vulnerables.
Uplifting vulnerability is something you learn from society. Okay.
Fraternity,
People are struggling.
Okay. Fraternity. Okay.
unity.
Unity is something you learn from society. Okay. Equality.
Equality is there to society, so we learn that.
You saw equal society.
I see inequality in the society.
So you imbibe that equality should be promoted. Okay, fine. Yes. Helping.
Helping somebody.
Compassion. You develop that empathy, compassion, sympathy. Okay, fine. What other values can societies teach you?
Patience.
Patience. Society teaches you patience. Huge population, big lines. No. Okay.
Sticking to the
Sorry. Slow internet connections, buffering. No. The best way to learn in patience is having a dial-up broadband. No. Dial-up broadband. You will get all the patience in the world, right? Yes. What other values are important in society? Ambition. That can be organizational value also, but society also fine. Yes. Competitiveness in society. I think there are better value systems, right? But yeah, I mean, healthy competitiveness, as she was pointing out, is a one good value system we can learn. Yes. Anything else?
How to stick to the ground, like
How to stick to the
we shouldn't leave our own place when we hear these.
humbleness or humility are connected to the grassroots. Tolerance. Society teaches you tolerance and
is subset of society.
Sorry?
Whatever is subset of the society.
Hmm.
From family.
Hmm.
That's subset of the society.
Okay, so I will argue that family is the fundamental unit of a society which creates society. It's not the other way around. So majority is my family. The most important influence on me is family, right? So dysfunctional families and unhappy families create unhappy societies. If you take most of the either criminals or any kind of people with immoral activities, they are not properly guided by their families, right? So that is why parents are the first ones to be blamed, then the teachers. Yes. So which is more important, family, society, or educational institute? Like hierarchy, like within these three things, which is more important? To which one has the maximum impact in you as an individual?
Family.
People may not
But if
even
a person
possible.
grows in hostels from childhood,
Family know where it will impact. Okay, but that family made the right decision to throw you in hostel, right? So again, family. No. Yes. Okay. Anything else? Isn't it the society? It is society according to you. That is why you didn't write any points, because society didn't teach you anything. It comes with the age bracket. Okay, so different times of life, different impacts will be there. So let's say till 10th class, school and family are the most educational value, right? After that, it's purely society that teaches you. Okay, what about individual himself? What is the role individual plays in his own life?
After an age, his consent plays a role.
So conscience, family values, social values, and educational institutes collectively create who you are. Can we argue that? Yes. See, whatever you are learning in family, society, and educational systems will create your conscience. Conscience will guide you into a better life or a bad life. But again, it is up to the society and families to make sure that you have all the proper things, right? For example, let's say everybody in your family is a smoker. There is a high probability that you will either pick it up, right, or abhor it, like you hate it. Only two things can happen, right? Yes. So how do we differentiate the percentages? It's very difficult to imbibe the percentages. Yes. So that is the beauty of this particular topic, role of family, society, and educational institute. This is second chapter in UPSC syllabus. Okay, so you can find one page notes in most of the standard textbooks, but I believe that, as I told you, the first two chapters are very deeply important. The deeper you understand them, the easier for you will be the rest of the chapters. For example, if you see this question, what do you understand by human values? Discuss the role and significance of family and school in propagating such values in children. Yes, this one. Okay. Yes. Right. So we need to understand that first and most important thing is family, and then the school. Within the family, again, you can grade. For example, mother is our first teacher. All right, mother. Then the role of father. Then grandparents, or joint family systems, or the family systems per se. What is the family value system that you are learning into? Let's say your father is a corrupt person. Yes. What is the probability that you will also have that lower benchmark? Yes, that is one way to look at the things. Then the society. Within society, again, societies are not equal. Where do you stand within the societal hierarchies? For example, you are born into a poor family with limited resources. You assume that doing certain things is not a bad thing, right? So when we say society is not homogeneous. At the same time, families are not homogeneous. They are not one. Family is not one, right? Your family have a different value system. My family has a different family system. So every family is unique. And where does that family fit in the overall society? And are they the first generation learners? For example, many of the modern day Indians are middle class families, right? First generation middle class families. They came from poorer agrarian backgrounds. Now they are into middle class. Yes. So all they are worried about is stability. So they are highly insecure. Yes or no? That is why parents prefer government jobs and stable jobs. By 25 have to settle, right? See, now if you see that societal value, we are moving to startup culture. This was something that is unimaginable 10 years ago. Society overall had a value system which preferred stability over risk taking abilities, and no one was wiser. There were always exemptions, right? But everybody believed that stability is more important than pursuing the dream. Yes or no? See, why is that role important is because you take society, you take social issues, you take ethical issues, you take corruption, you take anything that is a problem that we discuss, okay, that stems from either family or society. Patriarchy, divorce rates are increasing, right? So people generally come to a generalization that divorce is happening because of falling moral standards. See, I'm talking in Indian context, right? When we say divorces are increasing, that means we assume that falling moral standards of the society. If people are consuming alcohol, falling moral standards. Extramarital affairs, premarital sex, abortions, you take anything, we blame whom? Falling moral standards of the society. Did anyone ever stopped you from doing something silly on the road? Like, let's say you are breaking something, somebody will stop you. But if you are smoking on the road, does anyone come and tell you, no, this is bad? Right? So how can we say that falling moral standard of the society made me, an alcoholic or something else? Yes, what does society have to do with my decision to take alcohol?
Society does not recognize it as a fault or something wrong.
Hmm.
So we think, okay, it's normal in the society. We can also
Mm-hmm.
might be the reason like why we consider it's a
Mm-hmm. But vice versa is true, right? Now people will tell that, when you don't drink, like you are Sri Ram Chandra, right? They persuade you in a social persuasion is in a negative tone, right? Like, if you don't drink, if you don't smoke, you are like Buddha, you are an old guy, you don't know how to live your life, you don't know what is enjoyment. These are the social persuasions we hear. Yes or no? So can we come to a conclusion that societal morality has changed?
Already told a nice example, sir.
Hmm.
When you are not
Hmm.
got the values from
Hmm.
family,
Hmm. Hmm.
when you divert into such kind of things.
Hmm.
So when you are in a good family or when you get a good values from the society or a family, it's what you choose actually.
Hmm.
You are not into the bad society.
Mhm.
It has both the things. Bad society also, good society also.
Hmm.
The values what you inculcate in yourself, that you choose yourself to be like where you stand up, you have to be.
See, I totally agree with that. But I will also say there is no such thing as good or a bad society. Only individuals make it so. Yes, and again, if I believe that drinking alcohol is not a wrong thing, okay, I have nullified the effect, right? I don't think it's a wrong thing. So I'm an individual with a preference. You are also individual with a preference. So then, when there is a, how does a good individual and a bad individual come into the picture?
When we're talking about alcoholism or smoking a cigarette, the after effects that might be caused is the issue of the society, not the person's choice per se. Like, you drinking in your home is not an issue. You driving after it is the issue.
So that is decided on the.
Standard you have to set.
No, that is ethical standard we have already set, right? Like, don't drink and drive. Laws are there, rules and regulations are there. Yes. So the impact, only the impact will be judged, right? Not the act. So you cannot call an individual bad for having alcohol. That is what I am trying to tell you. Do you agree with that? Per se, the act is neutral. Okay, but morally wrong according to some, morally not wrong according to some. But if X has drunk and did something, that act will be judged as ethical or moral or not. Okay, it's a good act or a bad act. He has drunk and slammed into the divider. Nobody died, but still public property is damaged. So it's a immoral act. It's a unethical thing to do. You should not drink and drive. So action is judged. But per se, do you have a problem with alcoholism? Hmm.
that is lost, there shall be some impact on
There shall be some impact on
the society.
the society.
If a person is taking drugs,
Hmm.
he doesn't commit into any crime,
Hmm.
but he himself is being drug addicted.
Hmm.
So I think there will be some
Ramifications on the society. So we can take different schools of thoughts, right? For example, if everybody in the society started believing that alcoholism is fine, okay, at an individual capacity, as she has mentioned, I'm drinking in my home, you are drinking in your home, everybody is drinking in their home. But we all know society is a home, not a homogeneous group of individuals, right? Everybody will have different mindset. But the ramifications that are going to come out of that particular accident or norm is going to be more damaging. For example, I am drinking in my home and I am beating my wife. Right? It should not be a problem for anyone, right? Technically speaking. But what is the larger message we are sending to the society? We are creating a new negative norm and society will self-destruct. Yes? So, sometimes individual or your own values may not have immediate impact, but collectively will have a lot of negative externalities. So, negative externalities have to be taken into consideration. Okay? Yes? Okay. Now, so generally we think about education, the term education, right? Family teaches us, schools teach us, society will teach us. So education is not what you learn in school, right? Education can be multiple things to multiple people. So family, society and educational institutes all are inculcating values. Inculcating value is one form of educating you. So what is education? So different philosophers or different thinkers have given different definitions of education. We will see. According to Plato, what does Plato say? Plato says education is develops in the body and in the soul of the people and the all the perfection he is capable of. Okay. So according to his timeline, he thinks education is about body and soul, self, right? And perfection on all the perfection capable of. That means whatever he maximum extent he can learn, he is learning, right? Next, Aristotle has a different thing. Aristotle says education is the creation of sound mind and sound body. So here contextualization is important. As I told you, barbarian, like we don't have any set standards. So during Aristotle time, we are trying to set a standard. We need to have sound body and sound mind. Even today we see so many programs like, right, detoxification, yes or no, 14 days challenge, yes, eat salads, eat healthy foods, automatically you will be having a good body. There is engineering and inner, right? It's a very, right? So that's a very famous program. So it's not something new, right? We always have this concept of sattvic food, yes or no? Ikigai also says the same thing. So wisdom, the moral wisdom from multiple places says the same thing. Don't eat too much food. Eat only to a limited extent and you will automatically be more active. Famously put by Steve Jobs. Stay hungry, stay foolish. So you will be automatically active, right? If you're full, then you'll sleep. So again, he said it in the terms of passion. So we can expand it to everything, not only food, right? So sound body and sound mind. So Adi Shankaracharya has his views on education. He says education as a natural, harmonious and progressive development of man's innate powers. We are all blessed with all the power in the energy, right? So a religious doctrine. At the same time, we are capable of natural, harmonious and progressive development. Yes. So the same line of thought is also developed by Swami Vivekananda, right? He says all the power is within you. All you have to do is recollect it. Rousseau, education is development from within. Yes, this is what we do. This is more about self-development. Yes. So one question: if family, society, and educational systems are teaching us so much, then why are self-help books so popular? Mm-hmm.
So they are doing their duty to teach, but it is up to us whether we want to learn.
It's also their responsibility to make sure that I'm learning or not, right? They keep the spark alive. Okay.
We want to learn something.
Hmm.
Family, they want to do something.
Okay. Both are teaching the same things.
Kind of.
Hmm.
But they are going to read with their own,
Hmm.
I want to read something.
Hmm.
The attitude is something different where I learn most.
Hmm.
Family teaching, my dad is telling switch off the light when you are going outside.
Hmm.
I did not understand that.
Hmm.
But when I grow up, I understand, okay, my God, dad told his guy.
Hmm.
So you don't understand that value when they are telling.
Hmm. But still doesn't answer my question, right? Why? To an extent, it answers. Okay, I understand. Like here, you voluntarily are picking up a self-help book and learning, and as I said, probably it will keep the fire burning in your heart. Hmm. Bounded rationality. Hmm.
So when we try to increase the horizons of our rationality,
Hmm.
we pick other things.
Hmm.
We say if we for pick a song,
Hmm.
like say if it is adopt pictures
Hmm.
or if it is not
Hmm.
so it has its own value. So
Hmm.
what we want to learn, we choose from that,
Hmm.
which is not present in the family, but we should learn it from externality,
Okay.
which might not be present in the family.
Okay.
Family, society, education institutions set a moral standard for you to reach.
Hmm.
Wherein self-help books help you to feel better where you are.
To aspire higher again, right?
At least for the one, I feel people pick up self-help books because they don't know where they are and they want to feel okay with.
So actually,
It's a false sense of belief. Okay, fine.
is there any examples?
Monk who sold his Ferrari, Greatness Guide 1, 2, Who Will Cry When You Die. Yes. Think Like a Monk. What other self-help books are there? Ikigai is one way self-help book.
Think like a monk is
Jay Shetty. Huh. Yes. Og Mandino, Zig Ziglar. Who are the other? Napoleon Hill. So all these people are self-help books, right? Have you ever read a self-help book? No? I never needed self-help. No? Yes? Which one? How many of you haven't read? 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Self-enlightened. Okay, fine. Yes, the rest?
Same CEO answer.
Saint CEO on Surfer, okay. Monk who sold his Ferrari. Think and Grow on Rich. Napoleon Hill. Ramayana. Okay, nice. Hmm. Marcus Aurelius, definitely. Alchemist is not a self-help book, but you can throw it into self-help criteria. Yes, Deepti? Vivekananda books. Okay, autobiography of Swami Vivekananda is also a kind of uplifter. Wings of Fire by Abdul Kalam. Okay. You haven't read, okay, Enlightened, I forgot. Okay. Yes. Rest, Santosh? You didn't read. Sorry? Ramayana. You imbibed the values. Okay. Tell me 3 values that are imbibed in you by Ramayana. Sorry? Fear to do wrong things. You fear to do wrong things. Do you actually fear to do wrong things? Okay. So degrees. By default. Okay. Next. Then what did you learn from Ramayana? Like they should be on that. But the values are imbibed, right? Yes.
What I
Yes. You also Ramayana, right? Oh.
the first thing,
Hmm.
like respecting teacher first thing.
Hmm.
Whatever he says,
Hmm.
not going by blind rationality, but believing in him
Hmm.
and respecting the father.
Hmm.
Like, he comes with a lot of thought and after
Hmm.
that he delivers the things.
Hmm.
And also respecting the peers. Like
Hmm.
even he's so Rama being so powerful,
Hmm.
but he respects others very humbly, and he himself was the one who first. And within the family, he respects mother, and he also values his wife.
Hmm. So more or less, respect is the biggest value, right? Respect family members, teachers, parents, or anyone. That single value, multiple dimensions.
But he as himself as a character, like how he mingles within society is different.
Socialization can be learned from Rama. Okay. Yes.
Once
emotional intelligence.
Every character teaches one value.
One value system, definitely. So one of the biggest lessons we can learn from Rama is Sthita Pragnata, right? My favorite story is this. Rama, Dasarada calls Rama, tomorrow morning I will coronate you, you will be the king of Ayodhya. Okay, then he says, okay, I along with Sita will sit all the night, like do some puja, right? In between this drama of Kaikeyi and all these things happen. The next day morning, when you are about to become the king of the Ayodhya, he again calls his son and says, please go to forest for 14 years. He says, okay. Like when he said the first okay, he was balanced. Like I'm going to the king. He didn't say yes. Okay, he didn't do any of those things. He just said yes. The same tone, same yes. Then next morning you have to go to forest 14 years. Yes. The yes does not say. That is what is Sthita Pragnata. Perfect example of Nishkama Karma and Sthita Pragnata. That is ultimate thing. You don't be persuaded by extreme happiness, or you don't be dissuaded by unexpected things. You are balanced. That is the biggest lesson that you can learn from both Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana, right? Rama, as you said, is a living embodiment of dharma, so he will teach you so many things. Yes, the thing is you have to see it. When score crosses 120, yes, I have nailed polity. When score gets 80, sir, I have read polity but I am feeling depressed, should I drop the attempt? Okay, then you are not learning the right values. Yes or no? Yes, Nishkama Karma. Did you put like 110% of your effort, 100%, forget 10, 100% of the effort in prelims? Then are you sleeping happily? That is Nishkama Karma. Do your duty and forget about the result. That is not a simple mental state to achieve. So why am I teaching you these two values? These two values are very important for students because suicides are increasing, drugs are increasing, alcoholism is increasing, yes, abuse is increasing. Why do you, only when you get extremely frustrated you show that depression or anger on someone else, right? Yes or no? On any given day, half of the students in India probably will be under depression. We don't know, but at one point or the other they will feel depression. But if we imbibe these values from our sources, we actually can counter them. But the thing is, we read these books after retirement. They are the ones that are supposed to be imbibed in schools itself. Teach them in schools so that they will become better human beings. We proudly share WhatsApp forwards, right? Management lessons by Krishna in Harvard. Okay, why are we not adapting them in our own lives? I strongly doubt that. Again, I always have a vested interest, right? I will tell you the story that I want you to listen. That is the biggest problem. Yes, not what the right lesson is. I want you to learn the lesson I want you to learn. For example, I made Hanuman into an angry person. But whatever it is, like behind the car I have an orange poster with angry Hanuman. Okay, even when literally Ravana burned his entire tail, he was sitting in Lanka, right? He was smiling and he was talking as if he came to a lunch meeting. Okay, when he's perfect example of Sthita Pragnata, right? So when Rama meets Hanuman for the first time, he tells this person is extremely learned, so well learned that he didn't commit a single grammatical mistake. So he is like a Pandita. He's a epitome of knowledge. Okay, when such person comes and speaks to you, you can learn from him how to speak. Okay, when he has mastered all these values in such an extent, do you think he can be angry and you will use it for your personal agenda? That is the wrong value system that we are sending to the society. We can learn from each and everything if we have that right value system. Yes or no? See, this is not the Ramayana we hear, right? We hear it in a very fast forward version. Yes, but actually if you stop and observe every line, there is a message, as you have rightly pointed out. Clear? Now, so as Tagore has said, education gives us wealth of inner light. So that is a terminology we can adapt. Education, as he was pointing out, kindles the inner light. Yes or no? Be like a candle. Yes. I have one favorite idiom. I forgot it in its entirety. It's couplet in Urdu. It says, दिया का अपना कोई मकान नहीं होता, मतलब in the sense a candle or a lamp doesn't have a light of its own or a home of its own. Wherever it goes, it will keep on sharing. Be like the light. So education gives us the wealth of inner light. If you learn something and if you see something wrong in front of your eyes, you have to kindle it. That is when your education is coming into the picture. You saw a puppy or a dog lying on the road. It was hit by some car or bus. You drag it to the side of the road, you give it some water or something like that. That is bringing out your compassion. Yes, that is where your education systems are coming into the action. Yes. I wanted to tell an example for the same. For example, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Mahatma Gandhi, right? Or Swami Vivekananda. All these people didn't woke up one day and decided, I will fight injustice. Yes or no? They have an inner light in them. Martin Luther King had an inner light in him. Gandhi had an inner light in him. So when you read the Ramchandra Guha's book, the most famous example is what? Gandhi was traveling in a train. The ticket collector kicked him out of the train and he fought the injustice. That is what triggered him. But actually Ramchandra Guha says, the very first day when he went to South Africa, a newspaper column, I think it criticizes Indians or South Africans based on racial slurs. Okay, he immediately writes a letter to the editor that this is wrong. So what is his inner light telling him? Whenever I see injustice in front of my eyes, I will start fighting for it. That is what education is all about. Yes or no? So when he was thrown out of the train, that is when his inner light took into a whole new level, that I have to fight this injustice. And he probably never had the long-term vision for 30 years down the line. First I will fight in South Africa, then go to India. He didn't create a timetable, right? He kept on fighting injustice in front of him. When Rosa Parks was going on that bus, I hope you know the civil rights movement, Rosa Parks. So she was asked to vacate the seat and sit in the reserved seats for the blacks, right? So she refused to do so, and that triggered the civil rights movement. Okay, she didn't plan that day, right? Today I will go and sit in the bus and I will create a chaos. Yes. So when you have that inner light in you, when you have that educational system imbibed in you, when you see that injustice, you will start fighting. Whenever you see somebody, misbehaving with somebody inferior to you, as Gandhi says, measure the man by how he treats his inferiors. You talk to some server or some help or someone, how you talk to them tells you your character. Yes or no? Okay, so that system has to be deeply imbibed. Education is the manifestation of divine perfection already existing in the man. As I told you, Shankaracharya, right? Similar concept imbibed by Swami Vivekananda. Education means the exposition of man's complete individuality. So he deeply believes that all the power of the universe is within you. All you have to do is bring it out. You have all the energy that you need. And Gandhi, last two. Gandhi, by education I mean all-round drawing of the best of the child and man, body, mind and spirit. That is what he calls harmony, right? What you think, what you say and what you act, if all the three things are in one line, you are in harmony. That is what education should do to you, body, mind and spirit. Yes, we have this manasa, vacha, karmana. Yes or no? Thought, word and action. All these three things have to be in sync. That is what education will bring out in you. Yes. So this is Nun. He also have a contribution. He says education is complete development of individuality of the child so that he makes an original contribution to human life, right? And contribution to human life according to best of his capacity, original contribution. So here we can differentiate between two things, tradition and traditionalism. Yes or no? Original contribution, we can add something called as tradition and traditionalism, right? See, I can take Ramayana and discuss on the issue that it's about gender justice, that Rama left Sita, okay, and I can fight, but I will be seeing it from 21st century lens. Yes, or am I creating something original? right? Is it not wrong to discuss about gender justice in Ramayana? See, if I say tradition, Ramayana is a holy book. I'm not supposed to discuss about the gender justice angle. I'm not qualified enough to comment on Ramayana. But I can say whatever is in Ramayana is divine, right? I'm not touching that, but I'm interpreting it from my understanding. I'm not criticizing the original text. I'm understanding it from a point of view. Yes or no? Yes. So, for example, if you read Mahabharata, you don't read it from the point of view of Draupadi. Yes. There are some books. Yes. Now they are coming, right? That is what I'm saying. That original contribution is coming. If I am Draupadi, yes, there is this Parva by Bhairappa. Okay. He writes a chapter from Hidimbi's point of view. And that is something literally, next level of thinking, original thinking. Why? That character in the mainstream stories come and go just like that, right? The Rakshasa wife of Bhima, the mother of Ghatotkacha. It's a one-liner. But he wrote an entire chapter describing how or what she is and how she sees the world. And they talk about inequalities within them. Rakshasa are, the rurals, and the kings are urban elites. So you can see world in a whole new light that comes from original contributions. So if everybody is accepting the society as it is and nothing new is added, society will become very boring. Yes or no? So that is a very famous quote. I read it in Pratap Bhanu Mehta, the article. Tradition is the living thought of the dead. Traditionalism is the dead thought of the living. Yes. Tradition is the living thought of the dead. Traditionalism is the dead thought of the living. Yes. So we can link it to the natural law. A divine law when interpreted by human reasoning is the natural law. Yes or no? So in the same way, original thinking comes from questioning. You don't have to criticize it. You can think on it. Yes. As Sarvepalli Radhakrishna says, education is training the intellect, refinement the heart, and discipline of the spirit. So we have seen multiple definitions of education throughout. Yes. So there is no universally acceptable definition for education. You can create your own definition of education. But what is education at the end of the day? In my understanding, something that you can put into action is what education is, not what you know. It is what you do. What you do. The action you do is the true education, not certificates. Yes or no? Literacy is not education. We are literate but not educated. Yes or no? That is the single most important thing to do. Why? My personal anecdote. I think I told in the last batch. One day I was traveling in a bus, I think in 2009 or 2008, the Nagol road. It's a very around 9:30 p.m. So that is probably the last bus, 9:30. So I was footboarding as usual. So there was a farmer in front of me, some rural guy, farmer or some rural guy in front of me, and we both were footboarding. I started chit chatting with him. So then the bus was entering the deep Nagol. So once it crosses the Nagol junction, it's Bandlaguda. It's a remote area. Back then, it's like totally outskirts. Two women, again rural women, right? They were waving the towel. She removed the towel and she was waving, "Stop the bus, stop the bus." And the bus driver was in full flow. He was not stopping. Then the farmer in front of me started beating the bus, like, "Hat, hat, 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 stop, stop, stop." The bus stopped and the two women got into the bus and we started moving again. Then I asked him, "Why did you bother?" Then he replied one simple thing: "If that woman was your mother or sister, wouldn't you do the same thing that I did now? Right at the middle of the night, don't you do that for them?" Till that point of time, I will tell you that I didn't see life in that sense. From that point onwards, I never stopped seeing the life from that point onwards. He is definitely less educated than me, literate than me, yes, probably. Right. He rightly corrected me. He was less literate than me, and he was, I probably don't even know his name, but he probably taught me the greatest lesson of my life, that compassion or empathy is something that you don't learn in the schools, right? At 9:30, that is something that thought didn't cross my mind. Like it was like next to the impossible. Yesterday I shared this J.K. Rowling's speech, right? She mentions this line: people live their entire lives without even bothering like what is the life from other point of view. I was living in a bubble. He burst my bubble. Right? From that second onwards, whenever I see someone in some situation, I always imagine Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Yes, this happened in 2009. 2013, I was traveling from my hometown, like not hometown, where my father used to work, to Delhi. It's a 36-hour journey in train to Delhi. So some woman in some Maharashtrian town got into the train. Right? She entered the reservation compartment. So obviously general ticket and reservation compartment, the TT will catch you, right? And there are no seats to sleep for you because every other berth was reserved. So 2009, that lesson happened to me. I forgot that lesson, but it imbibed, like deeply it was imbibed in me. In 2013, what happened? She entered that coach and the TT was very like sincere, honest. So he said, you pay this much amount of fine, I will allocate a certain berth, because once you cross the Nagpur, it's like 12-hour journey to Delhi, right? So she was like, I don't have the money. I have only 300 rupees. So the TT was like, this is the minimum amount of fine. You have to pay this much amount of fine. Then she came and she was crying and she was asking everyone, right? Then I took my wallet and I gave her the money. Then all the people in and around were like, you are a kid, you don't know, this is all tactics, she will have money, blah, 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 so many things. But in that moment, I remembered that farmer. If she was my distant relative who is like less literate, okay, then probably wouldn't I do the same thing that I'm doing now? And I did this. And you know, the first thing she has done when I reached Nizamuddin, the railway station, is she called someone. He came and he gave me the money. The thing is, even if she didn't return the money, that was not the lesson for me. The lesson for me was I was able to implement that lesson that I have learned. Alright, so this is how life teaches you, right? And these are the value systems. Once you imbibe them, it's very, very difficult to forget. Yes, you see someone driving a scooty, like walking with the scooty, tire is punctured or petrol is not there. You stop and ask them, do I need to help you? That is something we don't ask usually, right? Let them die. Yes, but if I was pushing a scooty and someone comes, then things will be different, easy for me. So that is how the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam principle actually inspires us. So that is something that we have to understand. Yes, so that is what the lessons we can learn from our society, our personal experiences. If I never went out of the home, if I never met that farmer, right, I would never have been a better person. Yes, and I still think he single-handedly taught me the biggest lesson in my entire life than any other teacher ever done. Because you know, it's like paradigm shift. It's like so obvious, so simple for you, probably you cannot understand it, but for me it was like, how stupid was I? Like, why couldn't I think it in from that perspective? And it's something really that inspired me. Even J.K. Rowling's speech, the one thing I really appreciated in your speech is, hating your parents comes with the expiry date. Okay, I'm not saying I hate my parents, okay, I'm telling you, everything comes with an expiry date. You can hate everyone only to a particular point. At the end of the day, you have to accept you are the owner of your choices. The moment you take that into your hands, trust me, it's a liberating power. It will liberate you like nothing ever will do. You are the owner of everything that you do, the consequences. Right? So that means I have taken a choice to prepare for UPSC. I cleared it, I didn't clear it. Everything is my responsibility. Success is you know, what we call as Sharanagati. Success is what? When I reach success, I will tell it's my parents, my teachers, and my God who has bestowed me on that. If failure, totally my responsibility. If you can learn that humility, that is also a great thing. You don't blame anyone else, right? The biggest single biggest thing I ever had in my life is excuses. You come and say, I failed, I will never be bothered. But the moment you say any kind of excuse, okay, that is something that I cannot accept, because you have to take that responsibility, because it's not my value system, it's your value system which will change. The moment you accept, I failed, I got 40, 15 mock tests, then what? You are accepting that? You are not preparing well. There is some flaw in me. UPSC didn't kick me out. I was ineligible. Right? So all these things are very important. Now, education. This is a very beautiful paragraph. I really appreciate it. If you can read this. We'll close by 11. Don't worry. Breakfast time. I know. Yes. So education is both prospective and retrospective. Also progressive and conservative. Education is everything. Yes. Why it's prospective? It will tell you something that you will face in the future. It will protect you to retrospectively, right? And also progressive and conservative. There are some values which you should not change. There are some values which you should not adopt. For example, caste. Yes or no? Caste practices are treating humans as inferior. You know, the same Indians are mistreating the petrol bunk guys. When they go to US, they are happy to do the same thing. Then there we call it as dignity of labor. When it comes to here, failure. Right? Right? In the same way, the culture of one generation is transmitted to another generation. Yes, the good parts of the culture, of course. The good parts of the cultures have to be transferred. Respecting elders. That is something we do. And there is a problem in that particular argument. When we cite Ramayana, Mahabharata and all those things, okay, as you rightly pointed out, Vishwamitra and other teachers are highly enlightened. If Dasharatha is saying something, he might have thought 10,000 times. Then he is opening his mouth. But modern day parents and elders may or may not have the same understanding or sensitivity towards the society. If you are a moron, why should I respect you? Irrespective of your age. Right? So when you cite Ramayana, you be like Dasharatha. You think everything from critically, then come to me. Just because you are elder doesn't mean I have to naturally give you respect. You lose respect with your increase in knowledge, right? That totally I understand.
Also, sir, when parents teach that you should respect the elders, at the same time, they should also teach that everybody should be respected.
Yeah, exactly. The children should be respected. Their opinion should be respected. At least you should have to entertain that thought. The moment you say something, your family will be like, no. They don't even listen to you fully. No. It's like a default template, right? Yes. Okay. An integration of the old takes place with the new. This is easily understand. The communities live in the present and the past for the future. When the experience and the activities passes from one generation to other, they get modifications and improvement. The Hindu society collectively dumped the idea of sati and moved on to something better. Yes or no? Yes. Education is a continuous reorganization and integration of activities and experience. See, these are all the beauty that education can teach you, imbibe in you, help you as a society, as a family, as a individual. But don't understand education means books. Education can come from any place. That is what Rig Veda says, right? Let knowledge come from all sides. If you are open to absorption of ideas from every place, your life is happy. Future. See, the communities live in the present, we are living today. On the past, we have learned some value systems, like for example, compassion, empathy. There is no communal angle in the society because communal forces will hurt both the sides. It's not like only one side will lose, right? There might be winners and losers, but damage is done to both the sides. So on the past, based on the past, I have achieved at certain levels, certain moral values, and for the better future. See, communalism is a cancer. You don't understand it today, but 20 years down the line, someone will kill your son. Okay, because you planted some seeds. So that is something that you don't see immediately, but it will come back to haunt you. Yes. Yes. And quickly, we will see the draft national education policy. So national education policy is a very important thing. It will set the values education system, right? What we learn is education, but what we are planning to learn is value education. So what is national education policy is trying to tell you? The purpose of education system is to develop good human beings capable of rational thought and action. We can stop, laugh at the irony, come back, yes, and continue. Yes. No. Yes, I did the same thing at my personal level. I don't know what you will do. Yes, good human beings are capable of rational thought and action. Possessing compassion. See, this one particular paragraph, if you literally mug up, right? Okay, you will have all the keywords you will need to write about this particular chapter. Literally just dump them. Don't even think. Compassion, empathy, courage, resilience, scientific temper. Okay, again we can stop. Yes, and creative imagination with sound ethical moorings and values. This is what a future student coming out of Indian schools should have. Yes, relook at them again. Compassion and empathy. Okay, courage, resilience. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. Scientific temper, creative imagination, out of the box thinking in a different term. Yes, and sound ethical moorings and values. These are all what are supposed to be imbibed in educational values. So that is value education. Next, why do we need to do that? To create a equitable, inclusive, plural society as envisaged by our constitution. So you can link it to constitutional morality. So when you say constitutional morality does not happen by accident, it's a design. That is what B.R. Ambedkar says, right? Constitutional morality is not something we have imbibed in us. We have to be taught. Okay, next. This is the mugging up paragraph. Students will be taught at a young age the importance of doing what's right. Okay, and will be given a logical framework for making ethical decisions. So you forget this. So with a view to enable children embrace moral ethical values in us, what are the things we can learn? Traditional Indian values, basic human values, and constitutional values. From here onwards, every word should be in your brain, fingertips. Just whenever you see something, you dump them without second thought. What? Seva, Himsa, Swachhata, Satya, Nishkama Karma, Shanti, sacrifice, tolerance, diversity, pluralism, righteousness. I wonder how many of us know all the meanings, right? Inherent capabilities regardless of the background. Respect for environment, helpfulness, courtesy, patience, forgiveness, empathy, compassion, patriotism. Examiner will take off the kerchief, wipe his tears, squeeze it, dry it, then again give you full marks. Okay. Diversity is okay, good question. Pluralism is I can have multiple set of ideas, like I can have plural values. Like diversity is you having one value and I am celebrating it. Diversity is peaceful coexistence in one simple way to understand it. Okay, whereas pluralism is I'm imbibing some of your values, you are imbibing some of my values, and we are celebrating it collectively. Yes. See, to understand ethics, one other chapter or one other subject you need to deeply understand is society and social justice. When you understand society and social justice thoroughly, automatically appreciation for ethics will become easy. Right? So you understand the values, right? Whenever next time someone asks you what are the family's values you have chosen or society values or educational values, you divide it into 3 different paragraphs and throw them. Yes, I have all of them, right? See, again, this is not something that you learn in books, right? Nishkama karma is something you learn by practice, by experiencing the pain in life. Yes, Nishkama karma. Book or online system, I think they can be taught, right, to an extent, but it is up to you to give priority to them. Say for example, patriotism for me is paying taxes and at the same time stopping at the red lights, then celebrating the August 15th. So patriotism is a symbolic value, right? We attach value to symbols. Whenever I see that Janaganamana, I get goosebumps, right? I may or may not stand, but I get the goosebumps because I love my country very deeply. So for me, standing for national anthem, respecting the flag, paying the taxes and stopping the red lights, all are equally patriotic. Okay, but if you are more than happy to show, like every day I wear a Indian flag here and I go to the CA in the first thing, how can I evade my taxes? Then you are not patriotic. Yes or no? That is what we do typically. Sorry.
That's what I was saying.
Again, that is all. That all always boils down to individual, right?
Nuclear family and online education system have a complete negative impact on these qualities.
I beg to differ. See, thanks to internet, okay, you can learn so many things in so many ways. See, for example, my appreciation for Hinduism increased, or Hinduism per se, the value system of Hinduism increased per se because of internet. Because I come to contact with so many good speeches of so many religious speakers.
That you choose because you know that is a good thing for you. Suddenly, when you got the internet, you go to the right thing. And you believe it's the right thing.
I create that ecosystem, right? See, I learned some values. I'm coming here and I'm teaching you. At least 1% of like 1% value system has increased in you, right? May not be 100%, but at least 1% you will increase. At least you came to an idea. Okay, there is a this. If I listen to Ramayana, probably I have to read Ramayana in a whole different light. So your appreciation will increase. No.
This is what I appreciate.
But nuclear families and internet are not imbibing, or can we achieve all these things with the internet online education system? Okay, fine. Now it's a very good question. I will address this by one thing. Let's say tolerance is there. Okay, when do you get to experience tolerance? Tolerance is a value. All of you understand the word tolerance, right? Tolerance is a value system. How deeply should I have the tolerance system? Sorry? No, like normally somebody told you tolerance is a virtue. Okay, tolerance is a virtue. So why do you have to be tolerant? See, let's say you are born in a family, in a bubble. You are very well protected, pampered, you are taken care of 24/7. Okay, you cannot be tolerant because your mom and father has created a bubble of ego. Okay, you cannot mingle with people, you cannot travel in trains, you cannot mix with people, right? But if you are thrown into an office, where everybody came from different backgrounds, don't you think automatically you learn tolerance? So tolerance, as long as you are protected by your parents, was not needed for you. But you know what is tolerance? For example, you are traveling in a train, respecting elders. Okay, a 8-year-old man was like snoring too loudly, beating the train's sound. Okay, nobody in the coach is sleeping. Respecting elders is one value system. Tolerance is another value system. Which one will you choose? Right? This happens? Yes or no? But if you are traveling in your own car, you will never get the chance to test your tolerance. Yes?
Why he's doing like that?
Snoring is like what? Snoring is not his choice, right? Okay, on, switch off. It's not like that.
Can I have a suggestion for this?
What, like you put a pillow in his face? Problem solved. Why will you do that? He's probably an 8-year-old fellow sleeping very deeply. You know, normally speaking, that is what I'm telling you. Most Indians don't go and wake him up. We don't do that. Normally we ignore, right, to the maximum extent. It's like really irritating to the next level for hours together. Then probably he will do this. Even if he gives a break for 15 minutes, everybody will be like, sleep in this gap. Yes. Yes, see, that is my understanding and experience of Indian society. We are very tolerant, irrespective of religion. We don't unnecessarily interfere unless it's really irritating. Yes, that is something that society teaches us. give it a break. So somebody was destroying the entire building, so the other like, we will close the ears for 10 days. Okay, let them do. Yes or no? You don't file a noise complaint case.
It's also a problem.
Why?
Sometimes we don't even recognize how the things are being prepared.
No, I think society is very wise. For example, that is where the wisdom of the society comes, right? Let's say the recent municipal elections in Hyderabad, everybody came, we will change the name of the Hyderabad and blah blah blah. Tolerance levels were tested, they went. Okay, people are not even bothered, right? Yes. Even if they change the name, they won't care, right? Why? For me, the taxes are more important. For me, my vested interest is more important. What do I have to do with anything? And again, at the end of the day, all the same people who shouted, we will change the Bhagyanagar name, will be seen at Tista House. Yes or no? Right? We celebrate them. We don't bother about all these things. Sorry?
How come society is both wise and stupid at the same time?
See, we are talking about a race which sent a flight to Mars. Right? So that is 0.11% of the population. The rest are what you ask. Is clear? So please remember these particular value systems. Throw them freely as much as you can, everywhere possible. Right? Whenever you write an ethics answer, at least in the moment you see value, examiner should wipe the tears, wiping every tear from every eye. That is Gandhiji's talisman, right? So in a different direction. And you can throw Panchtantra, Jataka tales, Hitopadesha and fun fables. You can also throw in Jen stories. Yes, Jen stories. These are influences. Okay. So now whatever we have discussed is from family, right? So family teaches us traditions. It teaches us moral wisdom. Mother are the first teachers. It's a self-explanatory. But I want to give you one more mythological experience from again. See, we have this understanding that joint families create moral societies or moral value systems. For example, if you take Shakuni, he destroyed the entire Kauravas. Okay, blaming Shakuni will be a wrong thing. That's a very common understanding that Shakuni taught some bad values to Duryodhana. Right? As a parent, what was Dhritarashtra doing? Gandhari doing? Your personal egos came into the picture, right? So family values in its entirety will protect the family or will destroy the family. You know your son is being taught a wrong value. Because of your blinded ego or blinded love, you allowed that to happen. So this wouldn't have survived if the parent was correct or the family value system was correct. What was the family value system? That I should not treat everybody equally. My brother's sons are not equal with my sons. So that greed led to destruction. Yes or no? So normally making demon out of Shakuni is very easy. But he wouldn't have succeeded without the demons in you. Yes or no? Right? So that is one way to look at the religious scriptures. So joint family systems help us stay positive. Most of the times it's the grandmothers, grandfathers, they will tell all the stories, right? Yes, this is this, this is this. Don't step on the book. You know, as a father, you will be very caring. Oh, my son, please. But grandfather will be very strict. No stepping the feet on the books. Okay. Yes. Reverse actually. Okay. No idea. Okay. So stories of role models and all these people are taught by. Yes. So let's say your grandfather is a fan of Abdul Kalam. He will keep talking about Abdul Kalam. In my days, he was like this. So you imbibe that value. You grow with those values. Okay. You can throw in everything from comic strips to cartoon shows you watch. Everything will have a impact on your value systems. Yes or no? If you grew up seeing Batman as an icon, okay, you will have a very strong moral compass. Yes or no? The one greatest thing that ever happened to movies is Christopher Nolan directing the Batman movie, right? He elevated him from a vigilante to a idol. Like Batman have these qualities. So your comic strips and everything will teach you the right lessons. For example, there is a quotation in every Sunday there is a Enadu magazine, right? Enadu magazine. Many of you might have grown up reading Enadu. Now there is a different paper. Yes. So there is a quotation, there is always a quotation. So if you are addicted to quotes from childhood onwards, that is a strong value system you are developing. One quote I remember still now is this: chirigina chokka anna vesko manchi pustakam konuko. That means you wear a torn shirt but buy a good book. Okay, society does not bother about your torn shirt or a dirty shirt, but if you read a good book, that is a very good thing. So I never thought twice to spend money on books because of that particular quote. So I read it probably when I was in 3rd or 4th class. I didn't realize that when I grow up, that quote will still be with me and it will help me make wise choices. I buy more books than I can read, but I never thought twice. Okay, but people think 400 is it, okay, we will buy it in discount. Yes, I mean, generally speaking, I'm not criticizing anyone, but that is how value systems are developed in us. Okay, right. Society is informal learning. Society doesn't come and make you learn things, right? Society teaches you, just like the farmer or a rural person who taught me. It's an informal learning system, but it also have a strong impact on me. So social traditions are understood in the society. Yes. So right, one important aspect that society has to do is whatever value systems we have learned, it has to be homogeneous environment. For example, if I break the red signal, I'm a prime minister or an ordinary citizen, I will be fined. Then my value system will be reinforced. If the society is not homogeneous, okay, if a particular caste people are doing this, then it's fine. If these people are doing, then it's a crime. Then it's not a homogeneous system and we are not creating standards. So the primary responsibility of society is to create a homogeneous environment. Only then the value systems will be appreciated. You are not copying and cheating because your family told you cheating is a wrong thing. Okay, but your school teacher is coming into the class and shouting answers A, 2B, 3C. Then you will have a friction. Why should I work hard when my school will help me to pass the exam? You are teaching a very, very, very wrong lesson there. Yes. So homogeneous environments are to be created by the systems. That is when all the values will be respected. Yes or no? Yes. Societies also should give the fuller freedom for growth. Only when societies give full freedom for growth, what will happen? I will try to imbibe all these values. Say for example, work culture or dedication towards the work or discipline, and all these things will be maintained. Why? I know that if I invest 10 hours a day, I have a chance of becoming IAS. But because of my caste, culture, religion and other things, if I work hard also, if I am not going to get any fuller growth, then I won't invest the same amount of things. So whose responsibility is it? Society, right? Yes. Society also has to explain tradition, norms and mythologies. Okay, it is a society's job to make sure why we have established a certain tradition and why we have to follow it. Right? See, even after 3000 years or 5000 years, if Ramayana is still alive, that means what? It had all the right value systems and society is upholding it. 1000 other books came and went. Right? Every year probably or every day we can publish hundreds of books. But why still we consider Ramayana and Mahabharata as epics? Because they have the value systems that are perfect, near perfect. So society is upholding those traditions, norms and mythologies. It is explaining that is why we are maintaining them. So, okay, next, cultural, social, economic patterns and values are also to be upheld by societies. For example, if you take Marwari communities, business communities, okay, trust is the single most important value system in them. Yes or no? The entire community is run on one value system, that is trust. Okay, why? If I trust you, if we are trusting each other without any external support, without blockchains, bitcoins, then we create a flourishing community. But the moment trust is lost, everything is lost. So you don't buy a land in Hyderabad because some minister will come and take away. Then will you ever invest in Hyderabad? No, right? So we have that system where trust is upheld. So that is why I try to uphold that particular value system. You understand it, right? Self-explanatory. And from religious scriptures and great people's life, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Vivekananda, Nelson Mandela, Ramana Maharshi. You can take any examples and learn the right value systems. Yes. To make children emotionally integrated to the value of oneness. So society's responsibility is also to integrate that oneness. Yes or no? to reflect the vast positive loops. So again, the society has to give me that opportunity to reinforce my value systems. If I'm truthful, if I'm honest, if society is punishing me, I will never be honest again. Yes. So these are the lessons we can learn from systems. Education we have discussed a lot, right? The same value system comes into the picture. So the destiny of a nation is shaped in the four walls of the classrooms. That is also an essay topic. Okay, right? So we know that it is really true that students are shaped to the expected personalities by the teachers. So school teachers, like schooling or classrooms anywhere, not only in schools, any education system has a huge responsibility because it is shaping the destiny of the entire nation. Sorry? Apocryphal, we can take it on face value, right? You throw Gandhi said. Okay, Vivekananda said. Who is going to cross check? I will always find some solution, right? If I say Gandhi, probably he might have something similar. Okay, so again, the essence is more hard. Yes, no. There is a Telugu movie called as Jalsa. Have you seen it? Telugu movie Jalsa? No? There is a Gootle joke? No? Jalsa? No? Yes? Okay. Okay, fine. No, so the summary is, obviously classrooms are where the destinies of nations are shaped. But even more important is, education without vision is a waste. Education without values is crime. And education without mission is a life's burden. Okay. So you can throw this Gandhiji's 7 sins. Yes, actually it is not said by Gandhiji. Gandhiji adapted from someone else, but we popularly call it as Gandhiji's 7 sins. One of the value is education without values is a crime. You are an IAS officer, but you don't have a value system. Then you are a bigger criminal than most. Clear? I hope you understand. So I hope you will remember this class's discussion on how value systems of family, individual, society, and your conscience will come into the picture and help each other. So now you see your own answer in a different light, right? Like what are the value systems that are imbibed by your family members, society, and education institutions. Okay, theory is easy as I told you, but it is the practice that is very, very difficult. So remember this 2020 education, this particular paragraph. Okay, by heart all the value systems, then start seeing them in the newspapers. Start seeing them in the newspapers, or start seeing them in the articles you read, or the videos you watch, the movies you see. Yes, for example, gender sensitivity. You see it on a daily basis in the newspaper. You see it in a movie. As I told you, right, Daru, there is a famous Telugu movie. The hero throws a kerchief and it falls on the shoulders of Tapsi. So she is my property now. So that is not gender sensitivity. That is not the right lesson you learn. She is a woman, she is a living human being, she have her own choices. So respect for all the people and their inherent capabilities regardless of backgrounds. Respect for all people. Right? Next, compassion. The same thing with patriotism. People are worried that when somebody cut a cake with Indian flag, they are offended. Okay, but there is a good quote, right? If a soldier is sacrificing his life for you, he is a patriot. But are you a person worth his life sacrificing for? He sacrificed his life for society's welfare. But are we that worthy society for him to sacrifice his life? Yes or no? He's suffering in the Siachen, but we are doing corruption here. Are we patriots? If you imbibe that compassion and the patriotism, then you will develop and see patriotism in a whole different light. So every value will flow into another value system. I hope you understand. See, the orange color or the saffron color in the Indian national flag says it's a symbol for sacrifice, selflessness, dedication towards the society. But why do you want to become an MLA or a MP? Why criminalization of politics is increasing? Why do you want to vote for a criminal? Is it a patriotic act? So you can increase the depth of understanding of patriotism by linking it to other values. When I say Swachhata, Swachhata is not Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Swachhata is also your mind. You are voting for a communal fellow because he is from your community. Then you are not a patriot. You have all the right in the world to vote for him. I am not saying don't vote, or it's not my place to tell you whom to vote. But are you linking Swachhata of mind to patriotism? A country should be clean not only in spaces but also in minds. That is where the Tagore's patriotism comes, right? Where my country is great. Let my country awake into such situation. Yes or no? Clear? I hope you understand. Democratic outlook and patriotism. How can you link these two things? If someone criticizes you, you take it as a positive sign and get better, not say the report as anti-national report. See, there will always be a vested interest. I am not blindly saying that all reports are correct. At the same time, you cannot be blind to criticism. A country cannot grow without patriotism. Yes. So if a soldier sacrifices his life for you, or if a CRPF Jawan dies in an Naxal attack, he died for you, to protect you. So be a worthy citizen, worth his sacrifice, then you are actually a good citizen. Having a flag on your chest or going to Independence Day for chocolates is not patriotism. I hope you understand, right? So that is how you develop, right? You link it to different things. Clear? Yes. Okay then. See you all tomorrow. Right. Write such kind of answers. You will always be appreciated, right? Yes or no? If you write what everybody is reading and what everybody is thinking, you will never write good answers. What is patriotism example?